Good morning, students, and welcome to another English class. Today we are going to take up a topic from your book, Communicate with Cambridge. The name of the lesson is The Last Class from Unit 3. About the author. Alphonse Daudet was a French short story writer and novelist, now remembered chiefly as the author of sentimental tales of provincial life in the south of France. The Franco-German War had a profound effect on his writing, which we will see in the story we will discuss ahead. His actual experience of life at every social level and in the course of travels helped to develop his natural gifts. All his life he recorded his observations of other people in little notebooks, which he used as a reservoir of inspiration. A novel, he held, should be the history of people who will never have any history. Let's discuss the new words. Participle, a word formed from a verb and used as an adjective. Scolded, punished angrily. Uproar, a loud noise or disturbance. Fright, a sudden intense feeling of fear. Ruff, a projecting starched frill worn around the neck. Nod, bite or nibble something persistently. Mounted, riding an animal, typically a horse. Recite, repeat aloud. Trout, a kind of fish. Grinding, reducing something into small particles by crushing it. Word meanings. Monsieur, French for Mr. Conscription, compulsory enrollment of people in the army, in unison, at the same time. Plaited ruff, stiff formal collar with folds. Breeches, fitted formal short trousers fastened below the knee. Askew, not straight or at an angle. Reproaches, criticisms. Sous, a small amount of French money. Servitude, slavery. Viva la France, French phrase meaning long live France. Now let's discuss the lesson, and before we discuss the lesson I want to tell you a small thing about the lesson. Now this is a story in which we see people from France who are suffering from linguistic chauvinism. What that means is that the Germans, they basically believe that their language and their culture, they were basically better than any other people. Okay, so the Franco-German War was going on, as we did discuss when we were talking about the author. So the Germans, they believed that their culture and their language was better than any other language, and so because they had power over the French people at this time, so they made these people forcefully learn German rather than their own language. So we will see what are the views of the author and also the teacher on the teacher which is mentioned in the story over here. Okay, let's discuss the lesson in detail. I was very late for school that morning and I was afraid of being scolded, especially as Monsieur Hamel had told us that he should examine us on participles and I did not know the first thing about them. For a moment I thought of staying away from school and wandering about the fields. It was such a warm, lovely day. As I passed the mayor's office, I saw that there were people gathered about the board on which notices were posted. For 2 years, all the bad news had come from that board. Battles lost, conscription orders from the headquarters, and I thought without stopping, what can it be now? Now, the narrator of the story, which is Franz, he is late for school and he has not even studied for the test on participles, which was said by Monsieur Hamel, his French teacher. And as he is going to school, he is passing by the mayor's office. On the notice board on which all the notices for the village people are posted, he sees that there around the notice board a lot of people are gathered. And for 2 years on that notice board only bad news has been posted. And he has a fleeting thought while he is leaving, what can it be now? What bad news is it now? But he does not stop. I ran into the schoolyard all out of breath. Usually at the beginning of the school, there was a great uproar which could be heard in the streets, desks opening and closing, lessons repeated aloud in unison. I counted on all this noise to reach my bench unnoticed, but as it happened, that day everything was quiet like a Sunday morning. Through the open window, I saw my comrades already in their places and Monsieur Hamel walking back and forth with the terrible iron ruler under his arm. I had to open the door and enter in the midst of that perfect silence, filled with both shame and fear. But Monsieur Hamel, who looked at me with no sign of anger, and said very gently, "Go at once to your seat, my little Franz. We were going to begin without you." I stepped over the bench and sat down at once at my desk. Not until then, when I had partly recovered from my fright, did I notice that our teacher had on his handsome blue coat, his plaited ruff, and the black embroidered breeches which he wore on days of inspection or the distribution of prizes. Moreover, there was something extraordinary, something solemn about the whole class. But what surprised me most was to see at the back of the room on the benches which were usually empty some men from the village were sitting, as silent as we were. Old Hauser, with his three-cornered hat, the ex-mayor, the ex-postman, and others besides. They all seemed depressed, and Hauser had bought an old spelling book with gnawed edges, which he held wide open on his knee with his great spectacles askew. Now, when he went to school, when he reached the schoolyards, he saw that there was no noise in the school, which is very weird, right? Because usually when it is weekdays, when you go to school, there's a lot of noise which you can hear, but he did not hear any noise. The school was as quiet as a Sunday morning. Now, on a Sunday morning over here means that when it's Sunday, usually the school is closed, so you will not hear any noise. So it was a really strange occurrence to see that there was no noise in school on the weekday. There was no noise of students reading their lessons or the teachers talking or the benches being moved around. So there was no noise. So he basically counted on all this noise and all this chaos, so that if there was a lot of noise in class, he would just basically slip past the teacher and go to his bench. But that did not happen. So he was very afraid of being scolded, and then he opened the door very quietly. But the other strange thing which happened to him was that Monsieur Hamel, his teacher, he did not really scold him. He very gently told him to just go and sit. So he went and sat down, and then he looked at his teacher and he saw that he was wearing his best clothes, his special clothes which he reserved for special occasions. And the other strange thing was that the class felt very grave. The environment of the class felt very solemn, very serious, very grave. And there was another thing which surprised him the most, which was some important people from the village were sitting at the back of the class, which never really happened. Okay, let's see what's the strange news, what's the grave news that Monsieur Hamel has to tell us. Monsieur Hamel then mounted his platform and said to us, "My children, this is the last time that I shall teach you. Orders have come from Berlin to teach nothing but German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. The new teacher arrives tomorrow. This is the last class in French, so I beg you to be very attentive." Now this is why the people who were sitting at the back and even the students were very depressed about, because this is the last class of Monsieur Hamel. He has received orders from Berlin to teach nothing but German, not their language, not French, but teach nothing but German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. The new teacher will arrive the next day, and this is his last French class. Ah, the villains! That was what they had posted at the mayor's office. My last class in French, and I barely knew how to write, so I should never learn. How angry I was with myself because of the time I had wasted, the lessons I had missed, my books, which only a moment before I thought so tiresome, so heavy to carry, my grammar, my sacred history, seemed to me like old friends from which I should be terribly grieved to part. And it was the same about Monsieur Hamel. The thought that he was going away, that I should never see him again, made me forget the punishments, the blows with the ruler. Now, this is what he remembers when he was passing by the mayor's office. This is what the notice was about, around which people were gathered. Now he is regretting not paying attention in class, or not paying attention to what Monsieur Hamel used to teach him, because he does not really know how to read and write his own language. So he is terribly grieving. He is basically grieving to be parting from Monsieur Hamel. Poor man. It was in honor of that last session that he had put on his fine Sunday clothes, and I understood now why those old people from the village were sitting at the end of the room. It seemed to mean that they regretted not having come oftener to the school. It was also a way of thanking our teacher for his 40 years of faithful service, and of paying their respects to the fatherland which was vanishing. Now, the people the people in the classroom, they were sitting at the back because this was the last class of Monsieur Hamel, and they wanted to pay homage, to pay their last respects to this teacher who had given 40 years of his life to this school. I was at that point in my reflections when I heard my name called. It was my turn to recite. What would I not have given to be able to say from the beginning to the end that famous rule about participles in loud, distinct voice without a slip? But I got mixed up at the first words, and I stood there swaying against my bench with a full heart, afraid to raise my voice. Now, his thought was interrupted by Monsieur Hamel. He asked him a question. He was not able to answer what he was asked about because there was a test that day, right? Test on participles. And he, with the heavy heart, he just stood there swaying against his bench because he was not able to answer. I heard Monsieur Hamel speaking to me. I will not scold you, my little Franz. You must be punished enough. That is what it goes. That is the way it goes. Every day we say to ourselves, sure, I have enough time, I will learn tomorrow. And then when you see what happens, you claim to be French and you can neither speak nor write your language. In all this, my poor Franz, you are not the guiltiest one. We all have our fair share of reproaches to address ourselves. Now, Monsieur Hamel, he says that, Franz, it's not your fault. You're not entirely in the wrong over here because you do not really know how to read and write. There are others who are answerable to your plight right now, because as a French person, you do not know how to read and write your own language, and that's punishment enough. And at this point, I don't really want to punish you. Your parents have not been careful enough to see that you were educated. They prefer to send you to work in the fields or in the factories in order to have a few more sous. And have I nothing to reproach myself for? Have I not often made you water my garden instead of studying? And when I wanted to go fishing for trout, have I ever hesitated to dismiss you? Now he says that your parents and even me, both of us are equally in the wrong over here. Because your parents, instead of making you study, they sent you to work in the fields to earn a little more money. And even I used you. I also asked you for help when I needed. Whenever I went fishing, I took you fishing and even made you water my garden instead of studying. Then, passing from one thing to another, Monsieur Hamel began to talk to us about the French language, saying that it was the most beautiful language in the world, that we must always retain it among ourselves and never forget it. Because when a people falls into servitude, so long as it clings to its language, it is as if it held the key to its prison. When the language was at an end, we passed to writing. You should have seen how hard we all worked and how silent it was. Nothing could be heard save the grinding of pens on paper. Now, Monsieur Hamel says, he goes on to say that French is the most beautiful language in the world, and right now, because they are in war against Germany, the war is going on. So if they stick to their roots, as one, as French people, they will have the key to basically be free one day. On the roof of the schoolhouse, pigeons cooed in low tones, and I said to myself as I listened to them, I wonder if they are going to compel them to sing in German too. Now, there were some pigeons which were cooing on the rooftop, and Franz has this little thought that are the Germans actually going to make these pigeons also sing in German? Because these people were basically compelled to learn German rather than their own language. As I mentioned before, linguistic chauvinism. From time to time, when I raised my eyes from my paper, I saw Monsieur Hamel sitting still in his chair and staring at the objects about him, as if he wished to carry away his glance the whole of his little schoolhouse. What a heart-rending thing it must have been for that poor man to leave all those things. Indeed, to leave the province forever. However, he had the courage to keep the class to the end. At the back of the room, old Hosier had put on his spectacles and, holding his spelling book in both hands, he spelled out the letters with them. I could see that he too was applying himself. His voice shook with emotion, and it was so funny to hear him that we all longed to laugh and to cry. Ah, I shall remember that last class. Now, Franz, he understands the emotions of his teacher. He has given over 40 years to the school, and it's heart-wrenching to leave the place you were in for so long. And everyone understands that emotions, and everyone is very grave. And even old Hosier, when he was spelling something, his voice was also shaking with emotion because that was the environment in the class right now. And they wanted, and Franz and everyone, they wished to laugh because he could not really pronounce the words properly, and even cry because they were depressed at the fact that Monsieur Hamel was leaving. And Franz says that he shall remember this last class. Suddenly, the church struck 12. At the same moment, the bugles of the Prussians returning from drill blared under our windows. Monsieur Hamel rose, pale as death, from his chair. Never had he seemed to me so tall. My friends, he said, my friends, I, but something suffocated him. He could not finish the sentence. Thereupon he turned to the blackboard, took a piece of chalk, and bearing on with all his might, he wrote in the largest letters he could, Viva la France. Then he stood there with his head resting against the wall, and without speaking he motioned to us with his hand. That's all, go. Now, when the church bell struck 12, that's when the class ended, and that's when everyone basically, returned from whatever they were thinking about. And Monsieur Hamel, he rose and he wanted to say something. He was stuttering because his voice was full of emotion. He could not really finish the sentence. And then what he did was, he wrote only one phrase on the board, which was Viva la France, which means long live France. And then he told us, and then he basically ended the class there. I hope you all understood the lesson. I want you all to make sentences with the following words. Thank you for watching.